Why Polar Bears Are Endangered by Leah. What are polar bears? We hear about them everywhere. We see them at zoos. People protest about saving them. They're on the Coca-Cola can. But what are they really? Polar bears, also known as Ursus maritimus, are very different from their cousin, the brown bear. Polar bears are rangy and skinny compared to other bears. The brown bear and black bear tend to be big and burly. Polar bears have strong hindquarters, long legs, and a long muzzle. They've adapted well for living in the cold conditions they live in. You might have wondered how polar bears don't slip on the ice they constantly walk on. Well, here's your answer. They have hairy feet. Other adaptations consist of warming the air they breathe, their fur turning white in order for camouflage, their skin is black to attract sun, and how they keep warm in water still puzzles scientists. Polar bears range from the North Pole to Greenland, North America to Asia, even in Europe. Although polar bears are excellent swimmers, they live on land. A big reason polar bears are feared is that they will eat anything they find. Seabirds, eggs, lemmings, Arctic foxes, beached whales, fish, and seals, of course. Occasionally, polar bears see humans and attack. This mainly is caused by humans wearing sealskin jackets, being roughly the same size as seals, and not always, but possibly posing a threat to polar bears. Also, polar bears have no predators, well, except for us. Tainted food. Imagine going through a regular polar bear life when, bam, suddenly trash is taking over oceans that once belonged to you. Precious food being wasted away, swallowing plastic bags and breathing in fumes. Us humans see everyday litter, but this doesn't hold an ounce of the burden it holds for polar bears. Polar bears eat everything. This means they can't tell the difference between a nice big seal and a poisonous bag-filled, soda-encrusted seal. If polar bears eat the seal with all the garbage in it, the polar bears are then filled with garbage, which then kills them. Everyday polar bears are being slaughtered, unintentionally of course, by us. Why do we care? Of course it's wrong to do this to innocent animals, but what makes the polar bear so special? Polar bears are one of the most unknown cool animals ever. There have never been so many facts that nobody knows, so don't underestimate the polar bear. How polar bears keep warm in the Arctic still puzzles scientists. They have a lot of meat on them, and the fur they have does make good insulation, and of course they're black skinned. But what about being in the freezing water? Their fur is thin and hollow, their skin couldn't protect against that water, and they don't have enough insulation to keep that warm. So how do they do it? Also, polar bears are incredibly strong and great swimmers, with giant claws, I might add. For example, a polar bear can pick a half-ton seal out of the water and onto the ice with one hand while treading water, and their claws, they usually stay around 5 inches long. They may sound scary, but polar bears are actually very playful and courteous animals. A well-known story about polar bears and a bunch of sleigh dogs proves this. The sleigh dogs were out far from their owner's home and were set up to go. The polar bear came up to them, curious, and they went absolutely berserk. The polar bear patiently waited for them to calm down. When one of them seemed better than the rest, even a little friendly, he approached it. The polar bear came and nudged it playfully, sniffing it and basically introducing itself. Some pictures show the polar bear holding the dog close and the dog hanging its tongue out in a playful grin. What we can do. So it's not really our fault entirely. We aren't the ones throwing fumes in the oceans and clogging up their food and habitat. We aren't exactly helping all that much either. Every plastic bag we get at the grocery store, many of us just say we'll bring the reusable bags next time. Those bags end up in animals' homes. If not polar bears, then the fish, turtles, land animals, sea animals, anything, you name it. Every cigarette smoked also affects them. Their air is our air, and it was probably theirs first, depending on what came first, animals or humans. It was animals. So not just for these polar bears, but for all animals, think about eating a clump of bag, and that is why polar bears are endangered.